Happy Sunday, everybody. Another Sunday recap. How's it going? Sunday recap is that moment you realize you need to forget about everything up until this point. That's right. Forget about Hassan. Forget about Russia versus Ukraine. Forget about India versus Pakistan. That's right. Forget about all this stuff. Forget about Luffy. Forget about the Houthi rebels. Yeah, he's gone, man. The IDF missiles got him. Forget about Andrew Tate because I know he wants to forget about running for mayor of London. It's a lost cause at this point. Forget about Grand Theft Auto. Forget about Nintendo. This is important. Sungrad? Oh, oh, yeah, that's right. The Sungrad watches my videos. But he's not happy. No, unfortunately. He's disappointed in me, in you. Yeah, he's not a happy guy. But most importantly, he's disappointed in himself. He trusted in us. And yet, we let him down. The trust was broken. And he can no longer go on. He can no longer make videos addressing gaming topics. We ruined it. No. No. I I and I alone ruined it. He saw my videos. And then he got cursed. And then he realized that the curse was me. I was the curse of Sungrad all along. I messed with my own audio. I made people wear bolo ties and blue contacts and lose their minds. Because that is the curse. The curse of Azure. Yo, imagine breaking through mainstream and you've made it like this thing where you've brought up Sungrad in almost every single one of your videos and he's seen like probably a bunch of them and he's not happy because he's like I bring his name up and then out of nowhere other people start bringing him up and then there's other like reposting YouTube pages that have his like content, like his old videos, his older videos. He doesn't want you to see it. Secret. Shh, shh. Secret. You gotta be quiet. I have this special quiet potion that I can use. 1 second. All right. I'm nobody special. Let's get that clear. I made videos in the past mostly like for fun, and then to just like get them off my hard drive of my PlayStation 4, and now I'm on PlayStation 5. By the way, check out the Elden Ring. I got the PlayStation 5 version. I was running the PlayStation 4 version the entire time, and now I got the PlayStation 5 version because I got to make the lore videos on this. So yeah, what's going on, dudes? What's going on? This week, or month, or 2 months, it seems to be blurring together for me. It's been like a roller coaster up and down and then spiraling. I think upwards. Like there's a big positive to this. Okay, so let's talk about Grand Theft Auto. Okay, just briefly because it's probably like, so far away it's gonna make like people like upset or like, oh no, why? Why are you bringing it up again? Well, there is a debate, at least amongst the Nintendo fan base, that Elden Ring and other games have a better look on the console. Now, I have a theory behind that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but understand that if the Switch architecture is anything, sorry, Switch number two is anything like number one, chances are it's using the same NVIDIA chipset. And NVIDIA can run RT cores, NVIDIA can run like a bunch of stuff on its cards. It's a pretty powerful card. It's like you take a Switch and it's not really that powerful of a system, but most of its magic comes from that very GPU, if you will, the NVIDIA, which is why I think that like even though PS4 has better looking games than PS3 and like all the other generations, like having an NVIDIA 3D card has its benefits to an extent. I don't know if they're going to use ray tracing in Switch 2 games, but remains to be seen, right? Like if you use the latest RTX card or something like that that has frame gen and all these things, it's more than possible to get a Grand Theft Auto like prototype or maybe like a workable build version on the Switch too, right? With decent amount of RAM. I don't know though. I'm just throwing that as speculation because if the Nintendo fans are anything to go by, it's blindly loyal, but also like maybe they know something we don't. Just give them the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm in this YouTube thing to kind of figure out, excuse me, if like all these consoles can not only even the playing field, but also raise it by. Hear me out. I have this thing where I think that even though next gen, we're in like year five of next gen basically. Um, it's more or less like a carryover generation. So we have games on both last gen and next gen, and there's not really that much of a difference between them. Like case in point, certain Call of Duty games, certain Elden Ring, in case of like I'm playing right now. Even Night Rain that's coming out at the end of this month. It's on both the consoles, which is amazing. It'd be funny if I download the PS4 version, but like that it's bothering me. Like I still haven't gotten the it's a external drive, and yeah, I just need to get that figured out. But in the meantime, yeah, there is talk on the town of Nintendo Switch, and I touched on this on my last video. It's going up in price to $1,000, and I also said that it will brick the system. And even though I was just making like joking reference to it, to elaborate more on that, I think this is possibly what is called ultra parental controls, So when they say they're gonna brick the system, most likely that means you call somewhere or like you go online and you figure something out with like, an online service that will like restore your system, and it's mostly done as a feature to lock out people who are emulating, lock out people who are like modding their console, like overclocking, uh, copying data. What's another one? Like the usual stuff, right? And even like breaking it open. There might be like some sort of like thing where they don't want you to see inside the console. So if you open a certain layer casing, it will just do just that, and then your console is effectively not usable. So yeah, you can't even figure out how it works. It's just too like you could, but then the console doesn't work, and then you have a working console with the case on, but You don't know exactly how its inside works. It might be something like that along those lines. But I find that to be not as funny as the you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And I think it's like for almost every game. If not, it's probably like just for like the online games or like the bigger games. Like, maybe Switch 2 specific games or like, very large, maybe games that Nintendo doesn't want you to stream. Now, I was watching a video. I forget if it's recent. I think it was today or yesterday, or maybe it was like a while ago. Like when you watch Asmongold videos and you're like getting into it with him, like trying to figure out like how he moves and operates, how he thinks, and like how he would like come across this like thing where excuse me, he thinks that streamers somewhat like as positive as an influence on gaming as a whole has also negatively impacted the gaming experience for the individuals, and that's why I started making videos and I commented on the usual suspects, but also like the problem at large. Even when it comes to like the biggest streamers, the biggest content creators, you know what I mean? They're doing the exact same thing, right? And I don't really have a problem with it per se. Like, let's say you get someone like Kai Cenat or iShowSpeed or XQC or like like people who just game. Right? Nobody likes Ninja for some reason, but like well, yeah, the reason is he's like jealous. He's like they call it sneak dissing. It's like, yeah, you're good, but you're not as good as me, type thing. Guys playing video games, and he's just like, dog, what are you talking about? Like, even if he got into like a competition and like won and stuff, which he probably has done, I don't know, judging by his like, the history of like what these, streamers do and stuff. It's like at the end of the day, like the games that have come out now, at least in my opinion, are vastly different. Like, take for example, Elden Ring. It seems minuscule, but just imagine every other Souls game, and you just don't have a jump button. And like, maybe to some people, that's like okay, whatever, right? That's a normal thing in these games. But like the open world, the ability to jump, to go on horseback, and the horse can jump too, double jump, it's one of those things that I think like makes games that people were streaming, making makes games that like, all the Dark Souls games, maybe not Bloodborne and Sekiro so much. Well, Sekiro has jumping too, but like, like it doesn't make those games because they're more unique. But like, the only thing I really liked about Dark Souls was like the story and the armor sets and stuff. I found the level design to be like good sometimes, bad most of the time. But that's just my take. And yeah, this is possibly the most anti-streaming thing you can ever do. You can't cuss when you have a Nintendo Switch 2. If you're streaming a Nintendo Switch 2 and you throw out some cuss word, you better have some money or you better have a good reason why Nintendo should give you your system back. Especially like imagine somebody pulls like a Mission Impossible and manages to get PSP banned from not just Twitch but like YouTube. And like the way they would do it is like he's streaming and then out of nowhere they just splice in like, a snippet of him, maybe AI control it to like make it look like he's wearing like the clothes in his actual stream, but he's just like cussing and stuff. And then the Nintendo will ban him and then his console's bricked. And then it's just like that. But I'm pretty sure, like 90% sure, it's for guys like LTG who like will, you know, when you think about it like this, right? Like everybody pays now at least on console, for the online gaming experience, right? And if you have some asshole that's playing you in a fighting game, like back in the day, it was funny for kicks, haha, you know? PS3, nobody paid to play online. I don't know, Xbox, yeah, you did. Xbox Live, right? But like, hear me out. Like, everybody, you know, it wasn't really that serious back then. Now it's like, you know, you have leaderboards, you have trophies, you have all this like extra fluff, but you're also like very much paying for it. And then you have a guy like LDG who on the regular goes into these games on a regular basis and just like rage quits. Like not just Street Fighter, not just Fatal Fury and like Mortal Kombat, pretty much every other fighting game he touches, but also Smash Brothers. So it's like the LTG anti system, and there's probably going to be like a Smash specifically for Switch 2 that he can't touch. Oh man, LTG, you're screwed, man. You gotta like take them L's, and they're gonna be like reposted into oblivion until you take too many L's and you become the gamer.